Hi, it's Jackie with Panama Relocation Tours. Thank you so much for joining me for our Saturday live stream. I've been kind of in a rush mode today because I moved from one house to another house and I just finished about 30 minutes ago. And I didn't really have time to get the whole lighting situation set up right. So that's why it looks a little bit strange. But most important thing is we've got some great information coming from you. Just a little bit, I'm going to introduce Tim and Janet, who will talk about moving to Panama and where they moved to. But before we get started with that, I just want to give a little bit of background about me and Panama Relocation Tours. My name's Jackie Lang. I'm the owner of Panama Relocation Tours. And since 2010, we've offered all-inclusive 6-day, 7-night Panama Relocation Tours to help people have a super smooth move to Panama. We also offer private tours for people that just want to go to one specific area. And we also offer something called our online guide, or the complete Panama Relocation Guide, for people that are interested in doing it on their own, just having the information and doing it without actually going on a tour. And some people, tours too expensive, so the online guide is a really budget-friendly resource for you to be able to have a smooth move. Whichever way you go, we're right here to help you with questions that you might have before you move to Panama, in the process of moving, and then once you get here, you're still going to have questions. All kinds of things are going to come up. So we do offer ongoing support also. So I see a lot of people are coming in. Hi, Monique from London. We've got Minnesota, Atlanta, Canada, people from Maryland and Virginia, California. People from all over the place are coming in. And I do have Debbie and Chuck are on the line. Debbie is my moderator so that everybody behaves whenever you're here. If you don't behave, she'll boot you out. So you better behave, because she's just like a mom, and she's very strict. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and get started. Can everybody hear me okay? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, or let me know if you have any hearing problems with the audio this time. Okay, so I'm going to bring on Tim and Janet. So hi, Tim. Hi, Janet. Thank you so much for joining me for the Saturday live stream to share your story about moving to Panama. So let's start out with, where did you move from?
Well, we kind of took a long trip. We started out in Washington State and had to move to Arizona, and we were there for 4 years. After he got a call from work saying you need to be there, and I figured Arizona would be perfect for my health, everything, and it wasn't so great for Tim. So he did some research, found Jackie online. Tons of research. A year later, 2 years later, we ended up in Panama. After looking at all the other options, we decided Panama was going to be it for us.
Yeah, so did you check out other countries also, or did you just kind of zoom in on Panama? Because Panama, as you know, is consistently ranked as the #1 place to retire in the whole world for a lot of good reasons. Because, I like the fact that it's a small country, that it's not a really big country. We don't have very many crime problems here. It uses the US dollar. That's a big plus. It has a very strong economy, actually the strongest in all of Latin America, and a stable government. It doesn't have a government that's real divided like some other countries are. So everything's pretty stable here, and a lot of people just love living here. So what's not to love, right? You got the Pacific Ocean on one side of the country, the Caribbean Sea on the other, a beautiful mountain range right down the middle, and everything's just amazing.
I was a process analyst in my real life, and so I'm used to doing a lot of research. And I actually came to Janet because I knew we were retiring soon, and said, "What would you think about?" And I gave her a list and I don't think she'd thought at all about moving out of the country.
Mhm.
And I gave her a list which included Panama, Costa Rica, Vietnam, Singapore, Ireland, Portugal, and we started doing research, and we started to kind of focus in on the things that were important. And you mentioned a lot of those, but we looked for politically stable, economically stable, safe, good health care, and all of those factors kind of folded into it. I get my health care through the Veterans Administration, and I'm signed up through the Foreign Vets Program. And
Right.
after COVID, there was such a pent-up demand at the VA that to see somebody like a neuro-ophthalmologist, as an example, was a 4-month process. Here, I can get an appointment at a neuro-ophthalmologist through the VA within 10 days.
Wow.
And it's really important to be able to keep up with that stuff and to be able to see medical providers. So that was
Yeah.
one of the big factors. But those are the reasons that you mentioned are kind of the reasons
Yeah.
that we went through as well.
No hurricanes and no snow, and no tornadoes.
And not 120 degrees. Thank you.
Not 120 degrees, right? Well, and I know that you know this also, but the great thing about Panama is you can pick your ideal weather. Some people love
Yeah.
living, they
Yes.
want that ocean view, they love the warmer weather. I'm not one of those people, but some people love that. Other people like the cooler weather up in the mountains, which is what I like. And then there's that little bit in between. So you can just, pick the weather that you really like. There's not too many places in the world where you can do that.
Yeah.
So it's an amazing thing that Panama has to offer. So, and you brought up a good point. I've heard this from so many veterans that in the United States that veterans would have a really hard time getting an appointment. And then, rarely do you even see a doctor. You might see a nurse or physician assistant, and you're just kind of a number. If you get 5 minutes with them, you're really lucky. And I've heard from a lot of veterans that, the quality of the care that they get, not only do they get seen faster, but the quality of the care is better. I always say that in Panama, they put the care back into healthcare because the doctor, you're not just a number, you're a person. They take time to get to know you. And they really, I also like that they're not always just ready to say, well, let's take this pill, or let's, do that surgery. They sometimes do a much more holistic approach to healing whatever the problem is. And I appreciate that.
That's what we found as well. And the veterans programs that are available here are really, really nice. They're through a very, very reputable hospital. We also see a local doctor as well that Janet sees, and I see for just other things, just regular stuff. But he is incredibly well trained, very articulate. He and his staff speak English impeccably, which is helpful to us. And
since we're still learning,
we're able, but we're able to explain what's going on. And frankly, he's bright enough to take a look at the records that we provided and understand exactly what the issues are. We've been very impressed with the healthcare here.
Right. I've been very impressed with the healthcare here too. I think, I got COVID really bad in 2020 and was in ICU for 9 days, and they saved me. So, I'm real impressed with the doctors here. That's for sure. So when you made the decision to move to Panama, did you come and check it out first, or did you just make a move?
we came in September of 21 specifically to see what the rainy season was like. And we were in
Las Lajas.
Las Lajas, up, like you said, up on the hillside. So it was about 70 degrees daily, which was really nice, overlooking the ocean, jungle area. It was beautiful. Drive down to the Coronado area from there, and you can tell the difference in the heat and everything. But when we got here, and Carlos was our tour guide, he's like, yeah, it's gonna rain, and he took us to places, and it rained for about an hour. I mean, just came down raining real hard. But you gotta remember, we're from Washington State, where it rains for a full month at a time.
Mhm.
And so we were telling Carlos this, and he couldn't get over that. I'm like, this is nothing compared to the Washington rain. So we
So
were
you,
happy.
you took a private tour in the Coronado, Gorgona area.
We only
Yeah,
had a week.
And we couldn't book a regular tour because after COVID in 21, there was such a pent up demand for your services
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
the tours were very, very full, very, very fast.
Yeah.
So,
And we kept adding more, and as soon as the day we'd added, it'd fill up because
ma'am.
people
Yeah.
wanted to go. So that and that's one of the reasons that I wanted to offer the private tours. I didn't start offering those until October of 2020, whenever Panama opened up the borders again, because I knew some people they were zoomed in on a certain area. So there's no need in doing a 7-day tour. If you know you want to live at the beach in Coronado, you can just do a tour there. But also, because of COVID, some people don't want to get on a bus with 20 other people. They'd rather just have a more private situation. So the private tours, people really enjoy the private tours so that they can see exactly what they want to see and not things that they don't want to see. And it's exactly the right price point for them. And just everything's custom tailored to you. So you did a 1 or 2 day tour with Carlos, and I'm sure he showed a 3-day tour. So did he show you some houses to rent?
Yeah.
Yeah, he took us down a lot of the apartments, some housing in Coronado, all the way to
Rio Hondo.
Rio Hondo. And this was one of the last places he showed us. It's an older building, so it's shorter than most of the apartment buildings around here. It's only 8 floors. And it's, 90 meters?
100 meters from
100
the
meters
beach.
from the beach. The view is to die for from the back area where the pool is. We've got the mountains, I guess, to the east of us.
Yeah.
And
It's just
a really beautiful area.
And we looked at an apartment.
You're in Gorgona, and for people on the live stream that don't know, Gorgona is probably about a 5-6 minute drive east of Coronado. A lot of people have heard of Coronado, but they don't know about Gorgona. So Gorgona is a little bit closer to Panama City, and literally it's a 5-minute, maybe 6-minute drive to get to Coronado and all the shopping that's available there. But now there's so much shopping that's actually all the way to Gorgona, all the way to Chami. So that shopping is all along there. So you don't really have to go all the way to Coronado anymore.
Right, yeah.
Janet's favorite hair salon is at the Do It Center, which is halfway between here and Coronado. Reba Smith is a little closer to Gorgona than it is Coronado. There's a Ray's and a Super 99 in Coronado. It's just incredibly convenient for us.
Yeah, they built a lot of really modern shopping centers right there, right on the north side of the Pan American Highway from Gorgona. Super modern. There's even a Cinnabon, I heard. Is that true?
We're fans.
I need to stay away from there.
Yeah, right in the Do It Center, there's a Burger King, McDonald's, Starbucks, Cinnabon, Pizza Hut. There's a
Nation Sushi. There's a lobster place. I mean, it's not awful to have to go shopping.
And then there's this huge pharmacy at the end.
Rocha.
It has everything that you can imagine. If they don't, then we usually do Amazon anyways, and it's very rare that they don't have something. The Do It Center is basically an Ace Hardware.
There's also a lot more restaurants that are going in that area close to Gorgona too. So when you looked, I'm sure you looked at some places in Coronado. You probably looked at some stuff in San Carlos, some Rio Hato. And I don't know if you went to Chame or not, but you looked in that whole area. So what made you decide that Gorgona was the right place for you? Was it the specific apartment that you saw, or did you like that area better?
Well, I'll say that we kind of wanted to slow our pace down. Coronado is a little bit busier than this is around some of the areas, the shopping areas and some of that. What we really wanted to do when we left Phoenix is to get off the main drag, and our condo in Phoenix was on the main drag. So we wanted to get off the main drag and just slow down the pace. And what we found here is a really good ability to slow down, but very, very convenient. Like you say, 5-6 minutes from Coronado and all the shopping we want to do.
Well, we don't have a car yet, so when we need something, there's little supermarkets,
Supermercados.
just, you know, you can walk to.
Very quickly.
I guess there's
Yeah.
5 just in our area. There's a couple of restaurants, really nice restaurants. There's a pizza place.
La
two-
Luna. And there's all kinds of little fruit and vegetable stands alongside the road.
yeah.
So
All over.
lots of sandia right now. Sandia is watermelon. It's watermelon season.
Exactly, yeah. So right next to the International School in Gorgona is the entrance to the watermelon farm, and there's always a table just on the other side of the street selling watermelons that are just ripe and beautiful, and gosh, it's really good. We just really are enjoying it.
A lot of mom and pop shops, Fondas.
Mm-hmm.
There's one lady down the street that she does her own ceramics. She hand paints everything. She's got hammocks and pots and everything that she does by hand there. So that's very nice.
So you moved to Panama in January, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you already have your residency visa? Your temporary?
In the process of working through that. We had our background checks, FBI background checks, done in July of last year. Unfortunately, because I had some health issues, the VA would not release us to travel. We had intended actually to be here in November. And we would have been fine for the due dates of the paperwork. The challenge is by the time we got here, our paperwork was outdated by about 5 days.
Oh,
So
no.
we had to redo the background checks. We flew to Miami, redid the background checks. They're done. We're in the process of submitting those. So we should be finalizing that paperwork here in the next week or 10 days. And we're really confident about that. We feel really good about that. So
That's good.
They can do the fingerprints in Panama City, but they were
It's
going
expensive.
to cost more than our trip to Miami. And I'd never been to Florida, so I thought, okay, let's go see Florida.
Yeah, it's so close.
yeah.
So tell us about and you're renting. You didn't buy, you're just renting, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Right now we're
Okay.
renting. We're seriously thinking about buying it because it is in a great location. We like the apartment. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, fairly large living, eating area, and has been renovated, so it's an open kitchen area. But that way, once we're established here, we know we can buy this place. Then we can start really doing more traveling and seeing the rest of the place. If we find something else, so be it.
Mhm.
But
And the owner's interested in selling, but during the discussion about the rental, Janet's a much better negotiator than I. Originally, the cost would have been $900 and change. At the end, we ended up paying $800 a month for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 90 or so meters from the beach, about 60 feet away from the pool. We're on the first floor. We have a view of the mountains out of our patio. Because we're on the ground floor, the patio's huge. It just really has turned into a really lovely situation, and the owner's anxious to sell it. So we're going to start those discussions here pretty quickly.
That's a really good price, $800 for Gorgona for a 3-bedroom. Excellent.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I did want to say, a lot of people I've noticed on the Facebook, different Facebooks, yours and some others, they don't realize you can negotiate. And if they say no, hey, it's no, you pay what they want. But if they say okay, and there was
It
no
doesn't
reason-
hurt to ask. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt to ask. And,
Right.
some of the negotiation, I lived in Valle for a couple of months and they wanted quite a bit of money. And I said, and I was just going to be there for 3 months. And I said, well, what if I pay for the whole 3 months in advance?
Right.
Will you give it to me for this certain price? So sometimes whenever you dangle some money in front of their face, that they're going to get 3 months in advance or 4 months in advance, then that helps get the price down. But, sometimes if you only want to sign a 6-month lease, the price is one thing. But if you'll sign a 12-month lease, then the price goes down a little bit more. There's all kinds of things you can do. And, you can just flat out say, that price is a little bit high. What do I need to do to get the price to this point?
Yeah.
And then, let them tell you what you have to do. What's it going to take to be able to get the price to that point?
Right.
And Janet's better at that than I am by far, Janet.
Okay.
So I also want to say, I said earlier, we don't have a car yet. We're planning on it. But since he can't drive, I'm learning all the tricks and stuff from this
The
taxi
cab drivers.
driver named Sergio. Love him to pieces, and he really takes care of us because once he realized Tim was sight deprived, I guess, he really makes sure that he comes on time when we need him or tells us when he can come here, gets us to where we need it quickly. And
Sergio has made it a very soft landing.
Yeah.
we kind of overtip him because he's so good, but we give him $10 for each, ride to Coronado or to wherever we needed to go to. And if he can't pick us up, he always has someone else that's able to get us right away. So he's good.
Very good.
So just that, so everybody knows, after I've talked to Tim and Janet just a little bit and they've shared some of their information, then I'll let you know when you can start asking questions. But please hold off on your questions until then so that Tim and Janet can finish telling their story about moving to Panama. So I'll let you know when you can ask questions. So even without a car, because you found Sergio, you're not having a problem getting to wherever it is that you need to go.
No, and I figure by the time you pay for a car, you get the insurance and the gas and everything, Sergio's comes out a little bit less than having your own car. Now, it's not as convenient, but right now,
It works
great for us.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
We will eventually get a car. Janet will learn how to drive it in this traffic. And
Yeah.
I
I'm
grew up
excited
in
for
LA. I know how to do this.
Yeah. But, you brought up a really good point because I was asking, why did you pick Gorgona versus Coronado or San Carlos or some of the other places? And you're absolutely right that Coronado can be, especially Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it can be so crowded. It could take you 30 minutes to get into Coronado from Gorgona. And if you go to Machantazo, which is kind of like the Walmart of Panama, forget it on a weekend. Don't even think about going because every single cash register has 20 people in the line.
Yes.
So,
exactly right.
but you can go to one of the stores right there in Gorgona and get in and out and get what you need. And there's no traffic and no congestion.
And nothing to worry about.
We made the mistake of trying to get into Coronado on the Thursday before Easter.
Yeah.
That was
Forget
a
about
nightmare.
it.
They have everything coned off, and you have to go about 2 miles down and before you can turn around and come back.
Mhm.
And the only reason we needed to go there was to pick up mail and get a few more groceries. And we weren't thinking, because we're retired now, we weren't thinking Easter.
We didn't think about Holy Week.
And so next time any holidays come up, we'll just walk over to the supermercado and get what we need and forget mail for a while.
Or go early. Yeah, go early. So the reason that it gets so crowded, just so everybody knows, the reason it gets so crowded in Coronado on the weekend is a lot of people that live in Panama City come to Coronado for the weekend. They don't really go to Gorgona. They don't so much go to San Carlos or Rio Hato. They go to Coronado. So that's why the traffic is incredibly busy. And all the stores, you can't get a table at a restaurant in Coronado. So those are some important things that you need to take into consideration whenever you move to another area. Now, there are a lot more social activities, a lot of live music and dancing and things like that in Coronado, but you can get Sergio to drive you over there. Enjoy all of those things. Enjoy some alcoholic beverages if you want to, then have Sergio take you back home.
That's right.
So you don't have to live in Coronado to be able to enjoy those other social activities. You can go to them.
And between here and the beach is a little snack shack, kind of a beer hut. It's right off the street. And we have made great friends with the owners of that. They're from Ecuador. And
Mhm.
the family purchased this place. All the family works in it, and they're just lovely, lovely people. And we have really enjoyed. If we really want to go get something to eat, we can walk 50 yards right down the road here, and
Right.
without a problem. So
Yeah,
Right.
and then another one of the high rises here has a little kind of
that's a little
cafe
restaurant cafe
in there with a bar. So, you have your options to walk to. You don't have to have a car here.
Yeah.
Like I said, supermercados, there's a football field over here that they play
Soccer
soccer
and pickleball.
pickleball.
Yeah.
There's parks. There's La Rulena is a old restaurant, beautiful building that
And good
was
food.
when they first said moved here to Nuevo Gorgona, they opened it here. So it's what?
It's
80
old.
years old.
Yeah, it's old, but it's great food. Great food.
The beach is so nice, and when the tide is in, you just have to kind of watch your timelines. If you walk to the next place, you may have to walk all the way back around if you wait too long. But it's very nice. I pick up
Been great.
shells,
Yeah,
driftwood.
Right.
been great.
So word to the wise and everybody that's coming to Panama to perhaps do a private tour or even on our all-inclusive tours, we go to the Gorgona Coronado area on a Sunday, so that you can see what the traffic is like on a weekend.
Yeah.
But if you come here and you do a private tour like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the scene is going to be completely different than it is on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday in the Gorgona Coronado area. So before you rush into making a decision to rent something or to buy something, step back a little bit and don't rush into doing something on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Hold off and wait and see what the traffic's like on the weekend. And then if it's a holiday weekend, multiply it times 10. Because that's what the traffic's going to be like. If it's a holiday weekend, and we have a lot of holidays in Panama, then whatever traffic that you're seeing, it's going to be much, much more if it's a holiday weekend. For Easter, I heard that 72,000 cars full of people left Panama City to go to the Coronado area. 72,000 cars full of people.
Wow.
So imagine being in Coronado then.
Yeah. They're shutting down, just this month, the Ray store here is closing down to be refurbished. It's set to reopen in October, November timeframe, but that reduces the number of stores that are available, which means you'll have a lot more people
So
in the stores that are left.
the Super 99,
The Super 99.
they're going to be busy.
Yeah. Well, and you've got a Reba Smith, a new Reba Smith. Pretty close to you.
Yeah.
Reba Smith in Panama City. Reba Smith is my favorite store. It's a little bit pricey, but anything you could possibly want, you can find it there. But Super 99 is a great store too.
Really is. Reba Smith though has things that we can't find at the Super 99. As an example, it's a baker. Molasses.
Yeah.
Is a big, and the only place we can find it is Reba Smith.
And the Rays, they didn't know what it was, and I'm like, okay. So when you go to buy brown sugar here, it's not really brown sugar. It's just brown
unprocessed sugar.
It doesn't have molasses in it, so I have to go get the molasses to add to my brown sugar and vanilla in order to get real brown sugar.
Yeah. But it works.
Right. And that's another important point, that it does take a while. The things that you're used to buying on your grocery list, it takes a while to find out who has those things. Like Organica, they're going to always have molasses over by Nove, so it's a little bit further west than where you are. Yeah. But knowing that Reba Smith has it, and there's some things that you might want to get at Reba Smith that you can't get at Super 99. Some things you get at Super 99 that you can't get at Reba Smith. Exactly. And you just, that's just the way that it is in Panama, that you might have to go to a couple of different stores to get everything on your list.
Exactly right.
Yep. Now, Ray's, a lot of expats like the Ray's store because they cater to the English language with
In the
signs.
signage, yeah.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times, and we do a lot of Google Translate, and that's our
That's our friend.
friend right now. And all you have to do is ask the person, you show them what is on your phone, and they're, oh, okay, and they're happy to go find it for you or show
Yeah.
you where it is. But
We're learning slowly, but I have to say
It takes a while.
that's a huge
Yeah.
deficit. And I would
I've
highly recommend that people get a level of confidence in terms of at least understanding Spanish when they get here.
Right.
That's-
One of the
that's
things that
important.
I started doing shortly after I moved to Panama is I would make my list in English of all the things that I wanted to buy, but then I would intentionally look up each one of those words in Spanish so
Yeah.
that I had my list in English and Spanish right next to each other, so that if I needed to find something, I would try to pronounce it as best as I could when I first got here and ask people where was the thing in Spanish. And I
Great.
did that because I made a really huge mistake. The first week I was here, I went to the grocery store and I had a bunch of hummingbird feeders and I was looking for sugar to buy to make some sugar water for the hummingbird feeders. And I saw this great big bag of white granulated stuff and it had Domino on it. And I thought, oh, it must be Domino sugar. And then I got home and I thought, I better look this up. And it was SAL is salt. So it's a good thing I didn't, and I bought like a 5-pound bag. So it's a good thing that I didn't make salt water for the hummingbirds. I would have killed them all. But if I would have just, looked up what's the word for sugar before I went grocery shopping, I didn't know the word for sugar whenever I first came here. Of course, I know now. But sometimes you'll see onions, but you don't see red onions. So if you have that word in Spanish, then it's easy. You don't have to pull out Google Translate or anything. It helps you learn the Spanish word for each one of those different things that you're going to be buying.
Yeah. And the thing is, Janet lived in Germany for 7 years a long time ago, learned German pretty well. I have traveled a little bit corporately for what I used to do. I understand French and can speak French okay. And so sometimes we'll start to speak Spanish and it pops out German or French. That's been kind of a fun thing.
Luckily, Spanish words are very close to some German words. So
yeah.
Okay, wait a minute.
It's all right.
Okay.
Yeah, I lived in Germany for 3 years and became fluent in German also. So I had that same problem that I would try to speak Spanish and German would pop out.
I opened my mouth and go,
And they
no,
would,
that's not gonna work. I gotta do something else.
but there's people from all over the world moved to Panama. So they're used to hearing weird pronunciations of the Spanish words and, a German accent to a Spanish word or a French accent to a Spanish word. And they're used to dealing with us foreigners. They're used to dealing with it. And they're so patient also.
Yes,
They really are. And if you try, gosh, are they really, really helpful. They just, all you have to do is try your best before, and they'll bend over backwards to help you out.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So what about making friends in the area? Have you met some other people that you like to go out to dinner with and hang out? How's that going?
So because we're on the first floor and we have this huge balcony next to us, we sit out there and everybody that comes back from the beach has to go to the shower first, so they don't have to, but they come by, they stop, and they talk. So we've gotten to know a lot of the people, in the building. When we went to Miami, I got on the Everything Coronado website or Facebook page, and I was just scanning through and see someone needing a place to stay for 10 days. And I said, oh my gosh, that coincided perfectly. So a lady from Quebec, Ghislaine, came in, watched our cat for us while we were gone. She had the whole place to herself. She's a lovely lady.
Yeah.
We got back, and she had just left an hour before we got back. It was perfect.
It was perfect. Yeah.
So,
So
we go down to Picasso in Coronado, and we meet a lot of people there. A lot of people from Canada that are just now leaving again because they only come down for their winter time.
The Gold Coast Brewery, the Bench. There's a lot of people not only expats, but also residents that are here full time, that we've discovered that people here generally are just really lovely people.
So when
Yeah,
you show up
that's-
at any of these restaurants, everyone kind of knows you by sight, and they, oh, hey, how you doing? And we'll talk for a little bit, and
right. And you know, one of the other things is that I've in Panama is if you go into a restaurant and somebody hasn't seen you before, they'll come over and say, you know, I don't remember seeing you before. Are you just visiting or have you moved here? And they'll introduce themselves instead of you just sitting there and they're sitting over there. And then they say, oh, do you mind if I join you? And then everybody gets together and you just get to know people. So that's a great thing about the expat lifestyle is people are quick to make friends.
Yeah, we were in Coronado for a week and a half. We met the lady across the street from us, road, I guess, because they're all kind of dirt roads. Her name was Aunt Anna, and she was from Canada, and we invited her to go out to eat. And about the only place open, everything was kind of really full. I guess it was another holiday, but. We went to an Italian restaurant.
Luna Rosa. Yeah.
And I'm allergic to garlic. But they were very accommodating. And most places I've gone to said, oh yeah, sure, we'll just leave that out. You know, not very many people in the States, restaurants in the States can do that because they already have it pre-made. Here, you could say no garlic or no something or whatever you need. And okay. They're very accommodating.
It works really well. Yeah, they're very nice. So.
Yeah. So before I start taking questions from people, which I'm going to do in just a little bit, have you had any negative experiences since you've been here? Anything that, you know, we all have negative experiences sometimes, but have you had something that happened that you didn't like?
You know, a little bit of it is timing. I'll give you an example. When we first moved into the condo, there were things that we had discussed with the owner, and we said, you know, these things need to be resolved or repaired before we came in. There were water leaks in the toilet. You know, the toilet kept running. There were other things that needed to get fixed. And so yes, they're going to do that. Our refrigerator leaked all over the ground because it was kind of rotting out the bottom of the refrigerator. And they've replaced that, but it took, I'm going to say, 2 weeks for them to kind of get in and start to do that.
Mañana doesn't mean tomorrow.
It means whenever.
We'll come by mañana, whatever.
Yeah, but you know that it does definitely happen. But today I had a surprising experience. I was moving into another house and the internet was supposed to be working, but I got there and there were no lights on the modem. The internet was not working. Wow. So I happen to know one of the tech guys and I just sent him a WhatsApp and said, can you get someone over here? You know, this was at 10 o'clock in the morning. Can you get someone over here on a Saturday? I said, I need it working before 5 o'clock today. He said, well, they'll be there between 1 and 5. So at 12 o'clock, I thought, okay, I need to go pick up the closing documents for my house because my attorney sent them Uno Express from Panama City to me so I can go to closing on Monday.
Yeah.
I was driving out the driveway at 12 and Tigo, the repair people were coming in at 12, an hour early. I thought for sure I had time to run there and get the documents and come right back. Yeah. So sometimes it does take longer, but sometimes they surprise you too, and they show up a little bit early. I was really surprised, and I've had that happen twice with Tigo that they showed up early. It might help that I have WhatsApp for some of the repair people, and I send it to them directly, and they know that I'll give them a nice little propina whenever they come.
You've got a little bit more juice than we do, Jackie. There's a little bit more leverage there.
Yeah, I've been there. I've been here for a while, but they appreciate. You don't have to give them a tip. But if I gave them, there was 2 guys. I gave them each $10, and they're going to remember that the next time I need some kind of internet repair. I have their WhatsApp, and they know that if they're going to come right over, and that they'll get a little tip. So that's good.
Yeah.
So let me take some of the questions that have come in. Let's see, here's one. What's the name of the condo complex where you're staying?
Gorgona Oceanfront.
Gorgona Oceanfront.
Yes, ma'am.
And another one. How did you find Sergio?
Our
Well-
tour guide, Carlos, who, by the way,
That's
is
right. It was
Carlos
Carlos.
is fabulous. We had to move all of our luggage, a cat, us, from the house that we'd been staying in for 10 days or so. And we were moving all of that to this condo when we were ready to move. And Carlos put us in contact with Sergio, who came over with his private
With his
truck
private truck.
very, very, very quickly. He loaded everything up, and we got from Carlos that he was a cab driver. We exchanged WhatsApp numbers, and we just WhatsApp him and say, "Hey, Carlos, are you available?" Or excuse me, Sergio, are you available at 2:00 this afternoon to pick us up to go? So we give him a little bit of we do some
Yeah.
private planning,
Right.
so he can kind of get the schedule, and he responds very well to that. He's usually right on time. One time he had to send another driver because he was taking care of another client. The other driver was an hour late from the time that we agreed, and boy, Sergio just let him have it.
And he
Probably
sent an
won't be.
apology to Tim,
Yeah.
texting him, so I'm so sorry,
I'm
this
so
will never
sorry.
happen
I'm
again.
so sorry.
We haven't seen that cab driver again, so I guess he thinks that we don't like him now. It was fine.
Yeah, it was fun. But
So this is an important lesson for all of the listeners is if you don't already have it, you need to download the WhatsApp onto
Yeah.
your
WhatsApp.
phone. And
Yeah.
you need to start watching some YouTube videos. Go to YouTube University, of course, on how to use WhatsApp, because with WhatsApp, not only that's the way you stay in communication with people here in Panama. It's how I got my internet fixed. It's how you get a driver. It's how you make a doctor appointment. Just all
Yeah.
kinds of things. You do it with
How you
WhatsApp.
talk to the store
how you talk
owners when you
how to
order
talk to your
something.
attorney.
Now you're lucky because where you are, you can say, "Oh, we live in the oceanfront condo," and they'll know
Right.
where that is. But if you live out in the boonies, like I do, with no address, you can share your location with WhatsApp.
Yep. Nobody
Whenever.
understands that. There's no house numbers. There's no
No
there's some
street names.
but more than likely the street names are not posted on the street, so you have to
Yeah.
kind of Google and
They
see.
kind of you go by landmarks. Yeah, you go to the red Mercado and you take a right there until it turns into dirt road, and then you take a left and keep on
Yeah,
going.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you can do that, or you can just share your location with WhatsApp, and then it'll
Yes.
drive you right to it. So
Right.
everybody, before you move to Panama, you need to start using WhatsApp. Start getting familiar with WhatsApp. There's a lot of YouTube videos about how to share your location, how to share contacts, how to do video calls, voice calls, how to add 2 people on a voice call at the same time. All kinds of things you can do with WhatsApp. The great thing is it's free. You just need to have Wi-Fi. So that's why people use it here instead of making a phone call with their phone. They'll make a phone call with WhatsApp instead.
And that works well for the folks back in the United States.
It works. It's a great way for your friends and family to stay in touch with you. So
save money.
teach your friends and family how to use WhatsApp. Also, there's actually there's a way you can send everybody on your contact list. You can say, "Hey, I'm using WhatsApp. Download it right here so we can stay in touch." So definitely use WhatsApp. So I'll take a couple of questions. So are police reports required for a pensionado visa? No, or for obtaining an FBI. So a police report won't work. It has to be a national criminal report. So if you're from the United States, that would be an FBI report, but just your local police department, that's not acceptable. When I first moved here in 2010, that's all they required was a police report. And then there was a problem, I think, in 2011 with this crazy guy in Bocas del Toro that killed a bunch of people. And and he had a visa, but they didn't know that in another state that he had, a bunch of criminal stuff. So it wasn't until 2012 here in Panama that they changed it where it had to be a national criminal report.
Wow. Wow.
By the way, that guy's name, everybody calls him Wild Bill. He's still in prison. So let me take some more questions here. Is there still a property tax benefit for houses under a certain dollar amount, or has that gone away? So that is definitely still available. First of all, if you buy a property that was built before 2012, then you have a 20-year tax exoneration, but it doesn't necessarily include the land. So that's one tax benefit right there. The other one is if you buy a property that the improvement value is less than 125, then you have no property taxes for the rest of your life. So,
Wow. Okay.
so that's one of the things that you need to do if you do decide to buy a property, because so many properties here that you get the house, the furniture, and you get everything in it. And so they write one contract for the total sales price, which would often put that over 125. But if you'll separate it out and have two contracts, one for the real property that's 125 or less, and then one for the personal property, the furniture, the refrigerator, the ceiling fans, all those other things, two separate contracts, then you can keep your property taxes low, as opposed to just one big contract that puts everything all together. There's also, whenever you sell property here, there's a 2% tax and a 3% tax. It's kind of a capital gains tax that you have to pay. So the seller, if their contract, you only have to pay that on the purchase price of the property. So if the purchase price of the property is just the real estate, then their 5% tax is going to be less than if you put the real estate and the furniture and the appliances and everything all together. So there's ways that you can keep your taxes down if you have a good immigration attorney that will educate you on little tips like that will keep it low. So once again, if anybody has a question for Tim or Janet, you can put 3 question marks in front of it, and I'm looking through some of the other ones. So Jackie, can you compare costs between Gorgona and Boquete? So, I can't really compare the costs between Gorgona and Boquete, because in Gorgona, you can get an $800 condo or you can get an $1,800 condo. In Boquete, you can get an $800 house or you can get an $1,800 house. So the prices are all over the place, so you can't really do that. Going out to restaurants is going to be about the same. Buying groceries is going to be about the same. The big difference between the two is in Gorgona, you're going to need air conditioning. At least some of the time you're going to need air conditioning, and most rentals do not include electricity, which means that to that $800 rent, you can add so much for your electric bill. So what's your electric bill been, Tim and Janet?
We only use our air conditioning in the bedroom at night. The rest of it is open doors because there's such a breeze that blows through here to the ocean, right, off of the ocean. We found that we just need the ceiling fans to be on. Mm-hmm. So it ranges between $32, and if we're really closing up the doors and using the air conditioning, $110, $100, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Right.
But we're learning that, it's going to get humid here in a little bit. So the air conditioning is going to be a little bit important.
And I'm going to pick up a dehumidifier pretty soon, because
those
little bags that you put in the closet fill up really quick with water.
Damp red, yeah, the damp red bag. Yeah, you might have to get a dehumidifier. So that's a big difference between Gorgona and Boquete, because in Boquete, the houses don't even have an air conditioner, right, because you don't need one. So your electric bill is usually going to be, depending on the size of your home, like my electric bill is usually about $20, $25 a month. But if it was a much bigger house, it might be $30 a month. So the fact that you need air conditioning in the Gorgona area drives your cost of living up a little bit more in Gorgona.
Yeah.
But regardless of what your budget is, I mean, I saw a really cute single family home that was advertised on Facebook Marketplace, 3-bedroom, 2-bath furnished for $850. Nice big yard in Gorgona. That same property, if it were in Coronado, would be $1,500.
Yeah.
If it were. So that's another big difference between Gorgona and Coronado. The
Yeah.
cost of living in Gorgona for apartments and condos and single family homes, whether you're renting or buying, is going to be a lot less than it would be in Coronado. So that's another reason that a lot of people pick Gorgona versus Coronado. It's not just how crazy traffic is and how crowded it is in Coronado, but it's just you get a lot more for your money in Gorgona.
We noticed differences condo building to condo building, the Bahia over here and the Royal Palm. They tend to be more expensive for a 3-bedroom. We also noticed the square footage is much smaller than it is here. And of course, this is a little bit older building. So it's still lovely. The issue is we went to look at a condo at the Royal Palm, and that was a 1-bedroom condominium for about 1 bedroom, 1 bath, and it was dramatically higher in rent than this is here.
Yeah.
And you would have had to have air conditioning all the time.
Yeah.
I think it was on the 11th floor.
Yeah.
Not the breeze that we're getting here. For some reason, it's different.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. That some of the condo complexes, whenever you're there, you have to use air conditioning. There is no ocean breeze. There's just no ocean breeze at all. So that could get into a $300, $400 electric bill.
Yeah.
But that's something that you need to really think about is what is the breeze like? Now, whenever you had the breeze in January, February, and March, that was the dry season, and it's just more windy then. But it's going to be a lot different once you get into September, October, and November, whenever we don't have any wind and there's more rain, and it may be necessary to use your air conditioning more.
Right. And I think we're going to anticipate that coming up in August, September timeframe here.
So that's something that you need to take into consideration if you're moving to the beach area, is if there's a good ocean breeze or not. And sometimes the breeze is so much that it can literally knock you over. It can be quite a bit. But
you have to be careful with what you put on your
but
pad.
if you go to the complex, the condo complex right down the street, they don't have winds like that. So or one has a really nice ocean breeze, and then a block away, that other one doesn't have a nice ocean breeze. So these are little things that you have to investigate whenever you're looking for a place to stay. And it can be the difference between having a pleasant experience in Panama and being miserable all the time, and also having a $50 electric bill or $150 electric bill. So it's just little things can make a great big difference. Yeah. So Brian wants to know if you're going to see me next week. So I'm assuming you're coming on a tour. And yes, I'll be at the farewell dinner that you're going to have on Thursday night. So I'll see you then. Once again, if anybody has a question, if you could please put 3 question marks in front of your question so that I can easily identify that it's a question. Let me scroll down here a little bit.
Yeah, I wanted to say, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to say, we brought our cat with us.
Oh, yeah.
And she ended up costing more than our tickets here because of all of the rules and the health checks and you had to get the special vet in the States before, to certify that she was healthy enough to come on over.
And then the fees when we got here.
So you need to find a really good vet in the States or wherever you're at. And
was she able to go underneath the seat in front of you on the plane?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was underneath my feet.
Okay.
And we gave her, what was it?
We gave her drugs, gabapentin that the vet gave us.
And it just calmed her down enough that she didn't meow a lot, that we let the people in front of us know that you'll hear meows, it's not your imagination, she's underneath your seat. But they didn't really hear her very much, so she did better than we thought she would.
But she was expensive.
Yeah.
Did you use anybody to help her get into Panama?
We did. We used the frog.
The golden frog guy. Yeah, Jose.
Yeah.
And that worked out fine. We managed to get everything done, and we came in late.
Yeah.
And so the folks at the Panama airport were already gone for the day. She had to spend a night in quarantine jail, and we had to go back to the airport the next day to pick her up. We just spent the night at a local hotel, and we got, they boosted. We sprung her the next morning, or Jose did, I guess, and we got her.
Good.
I have to tell you too, one of our suitcases stayed, and I guess they had to check it out because we had our litter
We had kitty litter in it.
And they opened it up to make sure there wasn't something weird in there, I guess.
And they cut the kitty litter.
So,
they cut the kitty litter open, and we had kitty litter.
next
all
time
over
I'll
our
take a
suitcase.
smaller bag.
Yeah. So, in your area, in the Gorgona area, are there any bird watching groups or anything? Or I think most people would probably drive up to Valle to do bird watching and nature things.
The nature stuff out on the water, there's a lot of that. The bird watching and that sort of thing, I haven't heard a lot about those sorts of organizations or those sorts of clubs, but there are traveling groups that you can associate yourself with that go out on weekend outings. So you can choose to join, or just associate yourselves with them. They give you, hey everybody, we're getting together here, and everybody's going to go up to wherever, and we're going to do this activity or this thing. There's lots of things that expats do in terms of creating community here, which is very, very nice, and it gives you the opportunity to explore a little bit outside of your parking lot. So that's helpful.
We're also very close to fishing.
That's right.
A lot of
fishing
along the
boats.
beach here, and they go out every 4 days?
4 days a week
in the
in the
mornings.
evening.
Comes in, you can buy a fish straight from them. They clean it, slice it all up for you, fairly cheap. I think it's $2 a pound now.
$2 a pound. Yeah.
But you can also hire them to take you out if you want to go fishing. And there's some islands out close to us.
Yeah.
But I'm backwards here.
I like that idea. I just let them go fishing and they can fillet it and I'll buy it for my $2.
Yes.
I think, tuna's in season right now, and tuna's about $4 a pound, but it was just caught that morning. It's so delicious.
Yeah.
So someone asked Tim, how'd you get connected with the veterans organizations? And let me answer that a little bit first. If you go to our website, Panama Relocation Tours, and type veterans in the top, then it has a whole article about the veterans medical benefits that are available. If you're retired or if you were discharged with a disability, then there are veterans medical benefits available to you. And also there's a website called VSOoverseas.com. And that has a list of all the veteran service officers throughout Panama. So that's how you can get connected with the veterans.
The VSO website also gives you instructions about how to go through the process for the Foreign Veterans Program. It's essentially an application that you send in to your doctor. They sign off on it and send the medical records forward, and then they review it, and you tell them what country you're going to, and they approve it. You bring that certificate with you, and you make the appointment at the local veterans medical facility. Let them know that you've got the certificate, and they review the certificate and your records, so they understand what's covered by the VA, and they just start to get you taken care of.
Right. And then whenever you connect with the veteran service officers in Panama, they really hold your hand and make sure that you get to the right doctor, the right hospital, the right whatever it is that you need. Deliver medications to you, whatever it is that you need, your VSO, who are all volunteers, I might add. But they're just dedicated to helping veterans have a smooth transition to Panama. Just like I help you move here, they help you handle the veterans things. So someone asked if your condo came furnished with a ring.
Well, so I'm going to let Janet tell you about the furnishing.
Okay, well, it did come furnished. The couch was more like a love seat when we got here, and it was so well used. We said, just take that one away. We'll buy our own. So we have this, the chair, and a coffee table, and we bought our own mattress because the mattress was as hard as stone. So. And
the other thing was the TV was about the size of your iPhone monitor, and I can't. Boy, I couldn't have seen it. So we basically went out to the Price Mart and got a 55-inch TV to replace it, and it's a lot better for me. But I have to say that for the most part, all the rest of it, all the cooking stuff. Now we bought knives and we bought pots and that we like or that
there
we
was
prefer.
A few here.
So, but all of the dishes, all the glasses, all the silverware, all of that came with the condo. All the bed linens. Although we bought some of our own, we bought our own mattress for the bed. But for the most part, it was furnished and it'll be great. It's been really, really good.
Well, and no matter which rental that you move into, you're usually going to want to change a few things. Might want a different bedspread, or you might want some different, better quality towels, or or different pots and pans. A lot of them come with aluminum pots and pans, and you might want stainless steel. But Price Mart, which is Costco, basically, you can get whatever you want there. So. Did you have to? Well, someone wants to know if you had to pay 2 months rent in advance whenever you rented.
We paid 1 month's rent for the deposit, and then that month's rent for the month that we were staying. So we paid 2 months, but it was only 1 month as a deposit, and then we began to pay the rent for our stay.
Okay. And someone asked, what's the name of the company that you can bring your pet? So to bring your pet into Panama, normally you're going to do most of the things in your country yourself. You can hire a pet relocation company to help you with it, but it's much more affordable and even then it's expensive if you do it yourself. And that's getting your pet out of the country that you live in. Whenever you come to Panama, you can use a company called goldenfrog.net. And Jose, the owner of that, will help you get your pet into the country.
Yep. He's the guy that broke Nancy out of jail.
Yeah, so you have to get a USDA certified vet in the States for the health certificate. And
so one of the things you can do in the United States, because after you get the health certificate for your pet, then it has to be authenticated by the USDA. Then it has to be authenticated by the Panama consulate. You can actually go to the USDA website, and they have a list of veterinarians that are certified to do international health certificates. Because not all, just, the vet that you've been using for the last 10 years, they may not be able to do an international health certificate. And even if they say they can, maybe their certification has expired and they didn't realize that it had. So it's a good idea to double check before you use one.
We got very lucky and found a vet through a friend who, now normally I think that was usually like $180 to $200.
Almost $200 for the health certificate.
Yeah.
We had a friend whose daughter interned with a veterinarian in town.
Who tried to keep the cost down, so it was $80.
Keeps the cost way down, so we paid less than $100 for that.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. But that, and then all the documentation, the USDA, I think they used to charge $38. I don't know what they charge now. And then the Panama consulate charges $30 per document.
Sorry about that.
And then, then like $150 to get them into Panama. So it adds up.
Yeah,
but we'll do it for our fur babies.
It It
Yeah,
really
and
does.
that's why she costs more than our tickets.
Yeah.
Now,
So this
Frank-
is a question for Jackie. We have our pensionado visa. How do we get the airfare discounts when we're coming in or out of Panama? So you have to have your permanent visa. If you just have a temporary visa, you don't get any discounts. But if you have your permanent visa, you can get discounts. The best thing to do is to contact a travel agent in Panama, and then they can help you get that discount. We have in our complete Panama relocation guide, we have a list of 3 different travel agents that we recommend that are really good at finding great fares and helping you get those discounts. So I don't know if this is going to be possible, but someone asked if they can show us, if you can show your view. Can you turn is it possible to turn your computer around?
well, gosh, how do we do that? Yep. Well, bear with me just a minute.
It's my phone. So
Oops,
It's
down,
not
there we
locked.
go. This is our view of the mountain. If you can see that.
Yeah.
And there's trees up there, and now we're headed toward the beach. Those trees that you see in the distance are between us and the beach. That other building is the pool casita, and when you stand at the pool casita, you can look right down at the beach from there. But we have the view of the mountains over here, and kind of the tops of the trees and the jungle. And we don't get the direct sunlight because we're on the right side of the building. Did that help?
Right. Yeah, that helps. Thank you very much.
You bet.
So, I didn't realize that we've already been talking for more than an hour. So, Tim and Janet, I want to thank you so much for joining me for the live stream and sharing your experience about moving to Panama. And I'm really excited for you to get your visa and get the next step, and just excited for you because I know you're going to absolutely love living in Panama.
We're loving it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Gorgona is
fact that we can go next door and pick up mangoes, papaya, bananas, plantains
Pretty nice.
from neighbors. It's for free. I mean, every day we have mangoes.
yeah, right now it's mango season, and they have big baskets out by the road that say,
Yes.
take them, please take them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jackie, for all of the resources that you've given us too. I'm telling you, we would not have had a soft landing without Panama Relocation Tours and the guide. And we really appreciate the work and effort your team have put in order to give us a soft landing. It's really, really worked well.
And introduce us to Carlos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining me, and thank you to everybody from all over the world that joined us for this live stream to learn about Tim and Janet's experience moving to Panama. And I'm so glad that Panama Relocation Tours help make you have an easier move, a smooth move to Panama. That's what we want to do. That's our objective. So have a great weekend. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.